So that's my card. Now, do I want it to go that way or that way? Ooh, choices. Right. If I did it that way, I would get two cards out of one sheet. So I think what I'm going to do is do that. So let's just put this in and we'll just give it a quick cut. And I've only bought my little one, so let me just pop that on top underneath so I can gauge where I roughly want to cut it. It's about right. Now this is probably, oh no, I was just about to say it'd probably take you a couple of goes to go through it, but actually it went through fairly quickly. So there we are. There's my acetate. So what I'm going to do is pen my card. I would say, oh no, you can feel that the design is printed on one side and the other side is smooth. So it's up to you as to which side you have facing the top. I'm going to have it so that the pattern, you can feel the pattern on the outside. So I'm going to fold this in half. Now I'm just going to roughly push it down. And I've got my bone tool here, which will give me my final, press it down, give me a good crease. Now if you haven't got one of these, don't worry, you can use the back of a kitchen knife that you just use as cutlery. All you're after is an edge that will give you a nice sharp crease. So, right, so there we go. There's my acetate, and I'm going to just stick it along the fold of my acetate and the fold of my card. So I've got my glue here, which I'm brand new today because I'd run out. So let me just, right. So what I'm going to do is, trousers, that's what they're there for. Fold my card. This is clear drying glue, so, and I'm just going to run some glue down this fold like so. I'm just going to let it sit for a minute to get a little bit tacky. And forgot my kitchen towel. So this is Cosmic Shimmer glue, which I really like. It's a nice little pot that's quite handy, but they also do Cosmic Twinkles, which has got a bit of glitter in it, so that's my little bit of glitz. So I have just sat it there for a minute, and now I'm just going to lay this over and hope that it will just stick. I haven't done any card making for a little while, so I'm hoping this will work. So I'm just going to press it there for a minute. And I'm hoping that it's going to dry clear, because this is one of the downsides with acetate, is that you can obviously see everything through it. So I shall decide which is the best side once it's dried. So I'm going to leave that to dry for a minute, and then I'm going to look at my designs. So I've got a 6x4 card, so I think this one here, this outer decoration, let me pull it out. I think it's just going to be too big. So I usually, if you sit it on the table and then gently pull up and push down, don't try and pull the whole thing out in one go, do it gently around the edge. So there we go. So there's the biggest design, which is far too big. So let's take out the inside. There we go. So that's, I can put aside and use it another time. So then I've got another bit here. This is going round and round and round. So, and I think this is probably still a little bit too big to use. So now I have my teacup, which I could use. Now, where it's pulled out, there are a little bit of jagged edges, and you can just use your scalpel to just go round and tidy that up a bit. So that's that big one. But what I'm really thinking is maybe a cupcake. Let's try this one. There we go. Oh, that would fit quite nicely on there. That's something to bear in mind. Oh, this is one has "Let's catch up soon," which is really nice. Oh, just for you. We've got a lot of choices. And I'm thinking maybe just keeping it quite simple, because we've got a very decorative background. So maybe just this one. And birthday treats or let's celebrate. So we could also use one of these. Oh, this is a difficult one, isn't it? This is the problem. All I've opened is just this luxury topper, and I have, and the acetate, and I've only used half of one of the sheets of acetate, and I've pulled out a few of these, and I've already got so many different elements that I can use, and really I think I just want to keep it fairly simple. So let me see what else we do have. Let's just see what we've got in our pad of paper, because ideally I think what we need to do is add a bit more colour, because it's quite dark. So let's see what we've got in the way of borders. Now we had some deep pink, didn't we? Let's have a look. Where's that gone? Oh, that's quite nice. Oh yeah. It almost seems a real shame to cut up one of these, but I think I'm going to pull that one out. So you just carefully pull it out. It is the right size for our card. So I think I might do a spot of layering. Let's have a look. We have got some butterflies, so we could use that one. Let's pull that one out, but we could also use the dots as well. This is the problem when you have all these choices. I do quite like that one. That one might work. Right, I'm not going to pull any more out, because otherwise I'll just confuse myself. So I'm thinking that maybe I do I'll have the pink as the background, and then that and the cupcake on the top, but then that's quite busy and it does detract from the cupcakes. So let's see, if we were to just use the middle of this, let me just see, what have we got on the other side? Well, what we could do is layer it that way and then have the cupcake. Yeah, let's try that. So I'm going to have, that would then work with one of those, piece down the middle. So I'm not going to worry about the width of this, because whatever I do with this one, I know that this one's got to be a lot narrower. So, and I don't want it to take up the whole of the card. So I am going to cut this one. So that can now run down the middle like so. So now I want to cut a slightly narrower pink one. Now I think I want to make it, just bear in mind that I've got lines that run, so I'm going to make it so that the lines run down. That's it. So let's see how that looks. I tend to generally do it wider because you can always trim, but you can't ever add on. So so that looks pretty good. The other thing you could do is to make it a little bit more rustic, is to tear it. So you have a ruler and you just tear the edge so it's not a straight bit. But I think as we've kept everything, all the edges of the card straight, I think it would be fine to keep this straight as well. Now I'm just going to trim the top slightly because it does look like it doesn't quite fit. Now I could do this once I've put it on the card, but if you're going to use foam pads, it's not quite so easy. So I'm just going to eyeball it and just take a bit off. That's about right, or maybe a little bit more. The thing with these little pieces, if you're so inclined, is to keep them. I put them in an envelope because you never know, you might just want just a little bit, and it sounds really awful, but you find all these envelopes with all these little bits in them, and you're thinking, what am I thinking? But there'll always be a point where you just want something. I'm just going to put that. That's not liking that one. Let's try a bit more. That looks about right. That's it. Right. So, foam pads. What did I do with those? I have them here. Oh, there they are. So, how are we doing with this? Yeah. So I think I'm going to use this side as the front because this side's not quite dry yet, but this side has. Oh, maybe no, maybe I'll use more. I think let's try this side. This one's got a slightly bigger blob. I think it will dry, but it's not dry just yet. So now you can, if you want, lay this flat, or you can mount it up. If you have made a little bit of a a mess on this edge, you can use these to, well, you could actually fold it in half and actually have it as a an end covering up the glue on the acetate. So, but I think I'm going to put it down the middle, and I think I'm going to put it with foam pads. So let me see. These foam pads I think are a staple craft box item. Right. So just not going to put too many on. Probably going to put one in the center here just to hold it up. This is where the fun begins, because you're trying to remove these little pieces. So let me just, it's going to be one of those come back in a few hours. I might have removed them by then. This is where having fingernails really helps. Good quality foam pads are also worth paying for, because then they do tend to remove the double-sided bit a bit easier. Okay. I don't tend to keep all these little squares, by the way, just in case you're wondering. Just little bits like that. This one's, you always get one or two. Come on. That's it. If you find you can't lift it on one corner, then go to another corner. Now then, we now need to decide which way up we're going. So, and I think these, are these going up or are they going down? But I think if you look at it that way up, personally, I think it looks better that way up. But again, that's a personal choice, and there isn't ever a right or wrong way. So I'm just going to do that by eye. If you are worried and you want to, you can mark it out and do it all, but sometimes it's nice just to go for it. So now we've got our pink one, so I want some more of these foam pads. I'm going to do them in the corners as I've just done, and in the middle. I know this one's slightly narrower, but you still want it to be supported. You don't want it to sort of go saggy. So okay, so now I'll remove your little squares again. Nearly there. Oh, it's the ones that come off by surprise. There we go. So this one, it doesn't matter which way up because it's just plain. So again, just if you want to, you can measure it, or you can just eyeball it. There we go. So now we have a bit of colour on our card. So I'm going to add this one. and again I'm going to do it with my foam pads, but I think I'm going to put it, now you can either put it slap bang in the middle, or you could actually put this one offside a bit and then have your greeting offside. I am awful at putting anything on straight, so generally for me I tend to put things at an angle, because then it doesn't matter if it doesn't look straight, or I will put things off center, because it just, then it draws the eye around the card as opposed to just looking straight at it. So if I had it here like this, you would just immediately look straight there, but if you put it off center like so, you're going to be looking at the whole of the card and around it and going, oh, that's really pretty. Or you could put it that way round, but I think I like it that way round. It just means that you can hide a multiple of things, really. Say you've got a bit of glue here, then you can cover it up with these, and so on. So it's I just think you have to card make and plan as you go along, because you never know what's going to happen. So because I'm only going to be attaching it on one side here, so I'm only going to put a couple of foam pads down on this side. So I'm going to flip it over, and I now know I need to be on that side. Foam pads. I am going to put 5 on here. So there we are. And if you're unsure, because you can still take these foam pads off if you think you've done it wrong, so before you've actually removed these bits, just double check, and we're all good to go. So like I said, there is no wrong or right way of crafting, and the way I craft is going to be completely different to the way that you craft. So all I'm doing is just showing you the products and some of the ideas that you could do, but you're going to come up with a completely different idea that is going to be so much better than mine. So I'm just going to pop it down, trying to keep it roughly straight. That looks about right. There we are. And then, are we going for birthday treats or let's celebrate? I think we'll go with birthday treats, because that certainly is a birthday treat. So again, I'm just going to put it off to one side. So I'm going to put it off to one side over here. Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to flip it down, and I want to be on that side. So I'm not going to be overly generous with these ones. Just, I think 3. I just feel when you're putting them off to one side, it's worth making sure that they're really supported on that one side. So I'm just going to check, because I did think I'd put it on the wrong side there, but I haven't. So okay, because it's only attached by one side, so you really need to ideally make sure that it's secure on that side. So here we go. Just going to pop it there. So that looks about straight. So there we have a beautiful card which has got an acetate surround, which looks very much like they have in a card shop. And now, again, if you're at all worried about any of the glue showing in here, I've bought some, I have some peel-offs here, so we could run a strip of peel-offs down there. I've got some very glittery ones here as well. The other thing is, if you wanted to add a little bit of glitz to it, so you've got some dots in the center on this acetate where you could add some glitter. There's also edges here that you could add to add the glitter, but I think all I'm going to do is to run a line down. Now I have some peel-offs that I already use. One of the things to do with your peel-offs, I don't tend to get rid of, when it's running short, I tend to keep one of these because it's handy. These are always longer than you actually need, so you're going to be cutting them off. So so I always keep a spare one of those that I can then put the cut off piece onto. So I think I'm going to use a bit of glitter. I mean, who doesn't want a bit of glitter when it's a birthday treat? So I'm just going to attach it on the top. And then just run it straight down the spine of the card. And then once I've reached the bottom, I'm just going to trim it with a craft knife, minding my fingers. And ideally you want to do it on a board, and I did bring a board down, but I'm not entirely sure where it's gone. And now you can see, now if I wanted to, I could add another strip down here, or I don't think I necessarily want to add any corners because the acetate is very decorative, but just by putting that one strip down you get that little bit of glitter. And I could have added a bit down the centre. So that's one of the ways that you can hide up any glue, but I think it will dry clear and it will be okay. So there we are. That is the September project, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video and you'll want to make your own. And I'm hoping that if you do, you'll share them with us. Thanks for watching.